Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Football time. We are back to it again. So for those of you that are watching the games, hopefully your team is doing well so far. Fancy serial numbers is something that is kind of growing in popularity. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing it. And we'll get to what exactly doing it means. It's not as dirty as it sounds, believe me. But this little activity of going through banknotes has gained in a lot of popularity, especially here in the last, I would say, I don't know, year, since the beginning of the pandemic. And of course, there are things that kind of necessitate this boost in popularity with fancy serial number hunting, error hunting, star note hunting. There's plenty to look for in these banknotes. Today, we're going to focus on fancy serial numbers. We're also going to take a look at the overall market, just kind of, from a glance, take a look and see how many total listings are on eBay, and the number is staggering. I probably would say that the number of actual listings that are currently live for fancy serial numbers is about 4x what it was about 12 to 18 months ago, which kind of, shows you just the overall direction that people are taking. When they can't get coins from the bank, guess where they're going? They're going to the bank to get full straps of dollar bills. They're getting full straps of fives. I would say they're probably not getting like 10s, 20s, and 100s, 50s, nothing like that, only because the denominations are so high that if you were to find something, you're not going to be able to, really cash in a good deal on those higher denomination notes. So that's another thing that you guys need to know about. Stick with the 1s and 5s. $2 bills are extremely attractive because, they're $2 bills. I mean, they're really cool. But we have an example of a fancy serial number, and this is a really good one. This is kind of like what I would consider to be an entry-level fancy serial number. It's a 4-digit repeater. It's repeated twice on the same serial number line. We have 8616, 8616, and this one is also graded. All right, you could grade currency as well. There's PCGS currency. There's PMG. There's even one other company out there as well that does currency grading. But I'm going to tell you what. There are a lot of different fancy serial numbers that you don't need to grade, right? You probably heard the same thing before on the coin side, where I tell you, well, you have this error coin, you don't necessarily have to grade them. They're the type of thing that speaks for themselves. And the only reason why you would grade them is if you know they're going to grade really high. Now, 66 Gem Unk seems like a very nice grade, but this is a brand new 2017 dollar bill. So normally I would say this thing would need to grade like a 68, 69 for it to be worth your while. And, that's where a lot of the collectability is on the secondary market, especially for those people that like high-end note collecting. They like specialty kind of like run blocks and all that stuff. They want the highest graded examples. All right. So this one right here, 4-digit repeater, repeated twice, is a very attractive note. This is more along the line of a entry-level type of fancy serial number that you could look for. There's many different pairs and different there's a bunch, as opposed to one note that has all 8s on there. There's only one for that particular block that you can find. All right, so this is a really great example. This seller, by the way, is asking $55 for this note, which seems rather reasonable. But keep in mind the amount of money that's spent to grade the note. Consider that maybe half the amount of money that they're asking for this note. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at how many total listings we have on eBay. And what I did was, I'm in the paper money section of eBay, and I just typed in fancy serial. That's about as basic and common as you could get if you're trying to find like a huge market for these things on eBay. We have 11,358. I think the last time that I actually checked to see how many fancy serial listings exist on eBay, was over a year ago. And at the time, I was like, I swore this was like 3,000, or maybe not even that. Because at that point, people were also looking for birthday notes. They were looking for other different kind of funny, fringy type of serial numbers. And I used to go by a reference site called coolserialnumbers.com. And that's really where your top tier, kind of like your high end, top flight, fancy serial numbers will be on. They're not going to talk about things like trinary notes. We'll actually see a few of those in here. And again, that's still a fancy serial number term that I personally don't care for. I think when someone had said, "Oh, this is a trinary serial number," I'm like, dude, you're really reaching. All right. But believe it or not, some of those do sell for a few bucks. But you got to keep in mind the amount of money that it costs to list these items on there. I mean, is it really worth it in the end? So we do have a number of listings. We got a 7 of a kind right here. So you got 7 of one digit, and then there's that one pesky 5 in that serial number. Take note of the denomination. This is actually on a $100 bill, and they're asking $273 for it. 7 of a kinds and 7 in a row notes have gone up quite a bit in the marketplace. I used to sell these actually for between like 60 to $100. Unless it was like an 8 of a kind, it's a type of serial number that at the time, this was like 3-4 years ago, that wasn't nearly as sought after, because again, there's a couple different serial number combinations that you could find with 7 of a kind or 7 in a row. We have repeater. That's that same note we looked at. I try and stay away from things like this. I mean, it's only $2. I mean, we'll look at it. I don't know what they have here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's a 4-digit repeater. The note is pretty well circulated, so it'll be interesting to see how much this two paper money lot would sell for. And 70.90, 70.90. Yeah, so that's legit. It's got 4 hours left, so anyone looking to make a screaming deal on this particular listing, take note. I've noticed that well-circulated 4-digit repeaters have sold for about $5 a piece. So I would have no reason to see this listing, possibly head up to between $10 and $20. We'll see. I don't know. It's at $2 right now, $4 shipping, and that's where that one's at. Here's a 7 in a row. So you got 7 5s and then a 9. Okay, in a row, fancies are generally more desirable than 7 of a kind. Because with a 7 of a kind, you can have that broken number right in the middle of the serial number, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it kind of hurts the eye appeal a little bit when you see a number that's completely different right in the middle of the serial number, rather than it being like a bookend, like on the front or the back of the serial number. There's just something about having all those numbers in a row that really, really cooks. All right, so here's our first quote-unquote trinary. I think trinaries are a joke, but, I guess if you're selling a $1 bill for nearly 5 times face, maybe I should just shut up about it. But we got 0s, 8s, and 6s on this fancy serial number, And, yeah, I mean, what else can I say about that? It just is what it is. And, birthday notes have really risen in popularity. Now, they don't all sell for $35. That's kind of like a really, really high stretched kind of amount of money that you're asking for a birthday note. I usually find these for between $10 and $20 online, but the reason why he's asking 35, again, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the denomination. It's a 20. Man, this is a tough sale, guys. If you found out on a 20, I mean, you might be able to squeeze 30, $40 out of it. The adjusted premiums from one denomination to the other shrinks as the denomination gets bigger. So let's say if you had a birthday note on a 50, good luck trying to get maybe an extra $5, $10 out of that. Whereas if it was a dollar bill, you could easily get $15 to $20. But in relation to the denomination, that's 15 to 20 times face. Whereas you can't achieve that on a much higher denomination. All right. So, at really that point, it's a neat note. Do you keep it? I mean, does the date on there have any sort of significance? Um, let's see. And I don't know. No, I can't. I was trying to blow it up a little bit more for you, but yeah, we'll just leave it alone. In this particular case, the correct orientation of a birthday note has to be the month, the day, and the year, okay, based off of how it's being taught today in society. Some people, will find these notes, and it's like, oh, it's a birthday note, but it's got the year, and it has the month and then the day, or, there is, I guess, in Europe, they orient the actual date a little bit differently, but here in the U.S., for these notes to have the maximum amount of desirability, it has to be oriented month, day, year. Okay, and it has to be 2 digits each. So if it's not October, November, December, it has to be 09. And then, if it's under 10 days, it has to be 09, 05, 1965, as what you would normally, I guess, write on a sheet of paper or on a form. That's how you would do it. Or filling out an application online or something. So this is kind of like the most desirable format for birthday notes. So keep that in mind. Not to say that you won't make any money off of the other oddball formats, but it would be different if this would say 0095 1965. It wouldn't be as desirable for this note. People are kind of finicky, and some of them are perfection based type of or minded individuals, so they want the correct format for the birthdays. I know that's kind of more of a long drawn out explanation, but you guys need to know, because I receive emails and all that saying I got a fancy serial number birthday note. It comes out, it's like like 2308 1923. I'm like, well, the day is before the month on that one, and that's not what people want. They want month, day, year. All right, a few more fancies before we take a look at the sold listings. Okay, we have a what they call this a super radar. All right, that's where you have bookend, same numbers, and then all the numbers in the middle, all 6 digits, are going to be the same. So these are affectionately referred to as a super radar. It's about as super as you could get. This particular serial number, people have also called it a binary radar as well. Binary, by the true sense of the definition, are zeros and ones. That's a true binary. But people have embraced the word binary as being any 2 numbers in a serial number. Okay, so same goes for this. 3s and 6s, people, they even use the word binary, okay, because that's a commonly searched term when you're shopping for these on eBay. Take note, the high denomination, that's not going to be a fantastic seller, unfortunately. But you get the big picture. There's a low serial number, okay, 5 leading zeros, 306. That's actually a pretty good deal for that. That seems to be, especially for Gem Unk. That's huge too. People that fancy serial number shop would prefer the higher grade specimens that haven't circulated at all, because it's going to be worth more down the road. They could sell it a lot easier. It's more liquid when the note is Unk. But it looks like someone was fortunate enough to open up a BEP virgin brick of notes and came across a ton of low serial numbers, because, it's 306, 307, 323, and 320, all from the same seller, I would imagine, because they're all also roundtable authorized. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Here's a traditional radar where the first 4 numbers are read backwards, same set of numbers on the back 4 of the serial number. People will do these too. Hard to believe that this note is up to $7.50, but it's the 4 7s. It doesn't really matter what the first 4 numbers are. People want 777s because it reminds them of a slot machine, or it's a good luck number, or, there's some sort of like underlying reason that a lot of folks buy certain serial number patterns. You can't really judge or question that. So, if you have it, it looks interesting, just throw it up on eBay. And, if you can make $7, $10, $15 off of it, why not? Let the people who are interested in these type of collectibles make the value of them. I don't believe in scattered ladders. So if it's like a 1 through 7 or 1 through 8 and the numbers are all jumbled up, but you have one of each number, I don't believe in them. But again, that's just me. That's my personal feeling on it. I think it kind of downplays the unique factor of it. Plus, you got a lot of time, and I generally don't see those selling for over like $5, because there's so many different variables for the scattered ladders out there that you could easily, probably find one out of every, $200-300 that you search through, but you have to look for it. And I found a few of them just kind of on accident. Any fancy serial number with a star is really good. This is a low 4-digit. 4-digit is about what I would say is kind of like on the fringe of being a low serial number. I usually tell folks if you want to make the most amount of money and the notes that are most valuable will have 5 leading zeros and then 3 digits. So it could be 999 and lower. And then that's where, kind of like your big money. But again, if you're able to, flip a 4-digit serial and make 10, 15, $20 off of it, I would say go for it. I'm not going to tell you what's wrong or what's right. I'm showing you guys the market right now. And it's just, there's so much activity. There is so much activity on here. Here's more here. I mean, just you guys can take a look at it for yourself because they are all over the place. Like this right here, 01003000. To me, that's nothing. It's not a low serial number because you got the one way over here. You have one leading zero and then 7-digit number. That's high in my estimation. But again, it's got a bunch of zeros. Maybe someone will see that there is some sort of like desirability for that for them, and then they'll go and buy it. So it's got 13 minutes left. If anybody wants it, it's at $4.99. But yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. The market is extremely active. And here's kind of like one of the more extreme possibilities. Here's a beat up $20 bill, but take a look at the serial number. This is kind of like one of the biggest serial number strings that you have to be on the lookout for. This is an 8 of a kind, straight 2s, straight deuces. I mean, whatever you want to call it. As far as fancy serial numbers and like multiples in a row, again, 7s and 8s are the most popular. 8s because in Asian culture, they see that as a very lucky number. So the Chinese covet the number 8 quite a bit. We do have some overseas buyers that look for serial number 8 patterns that are kind of like unique and just interesting. And they'll buy those and they'll hold on to them. They'll put them in their wallets and they'll keep them with them forever. Take it from someone who's part Filipino. So yeah, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. But let's go ahead and take a quick glance at some completed listings. So that way you guys can see the true value of some of these notes. And these are from the most recently ended. So here's one here with 0s, 4s. It's a binary. This one sold probably for like $10 plus $4 shipping. The note is pretty well worn. You can just see the wrinkling and the folds in there. Here's one here, 0, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's got 4 4s in a row and then a tiny mini little ladder at the end there. Look at that, almost $25 for that one there. Again, it's interesting. It's on a $2 bill. Someone might actually see that attractive and they bought it. And then here's some of the more kind of like questionable serial numbers. 6 of a kind. It's not really something that I would, really hold high on a fancy serial number pedestal. There's just so many different variations of 6 of a kinds out there. But this is something that I wanted to address real quick. So this person put extremely cool, and then there's this percentage. All right, so there is a website that I want you guys to consider bookmarking onto your computer or your phone device. And that's going to be mycurrencycollection.com. This has been a site that's been around for a good hot minute, many years. The proprietor, his name's Dave. God, what's his last name? But he is the guy, I believe, that is in charge of the website coolserialnumbers.com. Okay, that's the website I talked to you guys about earlier in the show, about just a dedicated resource that you could go to. And he's actually a dealer, so he sells these fancy serial number notes on the site. A lot of high graded examples, but he has some really cool stuff. But he put together this website. He does all the research work, not only on the star note side of it, but the fancy serial number checker as well. So there is a star note. That's probably like the primary reason why I use mycurrencycollection.com, is I check to see what the run size is for star notes as I find them in strap searching. But checking your serial numbers, so you go in here and you just type in your serial number. So I'm going to use 55557890, and make sure it's always 8 digits in there. And it'll give you a coolness index. And it'll tell you, oh, the rating is very cool right there. So it's got a 95.3% coolness index. And people are actually using that in their eBay listings to help boost the desirability of that fancy serial number string. Sorry, I got an airplane just blew right by me, so that's probably the buzz you're hearing. But they'll use the My Currency Collection fancy serial number checker to find out what the coolness index of that particular serial number is, and they'll actually use it on their listing, and it's actually helped some folks sell their notes. So you guys might want to use that tool, because this individual sold a $20 bill with a somewhat just what seems to be a decent kind of, interesting serial number with quad 4s and 1100 for over $40 shipped. So that's another good idea to do there. And then, of course, your birthday serial numbers. We got, March 1st, 2014. If someone has a birthday during that time, I mean, it's only 7 years ago. So there you go. $7.20 combined is what that one sold for. But if we continue on down the line, here's 7 twos. So 7 of a kind twos here. This one is a PMG 67, which is quite nice. That came right out of a strap. $256. Here's consecutive 9s, extra fancy serial numbers, 2017. So these are brand new notes as well. This one sold for $73.53. Here's a 7 in a row. PMG 66 EPQ 2013. That's a new note. $167.50. All right. So as you can see, and then there's circulated notes that do sell as well. If you take a look and see, 3s and 5s, this one sold for $26 or close to it. Here's 2s and 0s. Again, pretty well circulated, $20.38 plus $4.19 shipped. So I always add the shipping fee to that. And here's another interesting one here. See how this one ends in 0s? Well, it used to be, and they still do it today, the BEP employees will pull out the notes with quad 0s at the end and quad 9s. Okay, that's part of their process after they've cut the notes down and all that stuff. They'll pull out the notes that end in 4 0s and end in 4 9s. So, in theory, these aren't supposed to exist out there, but they do overlook quite a few of them. And I think within the last 2 years, they've really laxed up on that. And we're beginning to see more of those out there in circulation. So, but the market hasn't quite caught up with that particular segment of paper money collecting. So, therefore, it's really not a big deal yet. Because there's quite a few of them out there. I've seen a fair share of those quad 0s, quad 9 notes. So, this one right here didn't even sell for $10 shipped. But it's a trinary. There you go with our trinary again. 4s, 3s, and 0s. Another trinary. Again, look, people are paying a little bit of a premium for them. This is a $2 bill. So it's a little bit higher denomination. Fancy repeater serial right here. I'm actually looking for a star note with one. But this is $13.99, $13.99 right there. So it's a 4-digit repeater. and it's a Gem Unk 66. So it's quite nice. That's a nice note right there. Very interesting serial number. Sold for $52 shipped. But again, I mean, this is like deadpan, easy stuff that you could do, recognizing serial number patterns. If it looks interesting to you, man, go ahead and throw it up on eBay. See what sticks. If you're able to make, you got to make at least $5 before shipping, or after shipping rather, in order for it to be worth your while. So the reason why I say there are certain serial numbers you don't need to grade is for this particular reason. Here's a $20 bill with a 7 of a kind sevens, but take a look and see how much it sold for. And it's ungraded. If it was graded, you probably sell it for right around that same amount of money as well. Now, you don't typically want to grade super circulated notes either. You know, if they're circulated, sell it as it is. And don't spend the $25-$30 to send a note out to PMG or PCGS currency. It's just not worth it. But there you go. The note market is quite robust. There's 7 of kind ones on a 50 for $80. So if that was on a dollar bill, that'd probably sell for probably $50. So you make a little bit less money on the higher denomination fancies. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, you guys can always go back and check this stuff out. The market is, it is what it is. I'm not going to say it's either hot or cold or anything like that. It's just there is a lot of activity. I will tell you, there are more listings, more activity today than there was over a year ago for currency related type of finds like this. It's a lot of fun. I still do it, and I know a lot of banks are still providing straps of ones. Sometimes you have to call ahead in order to, oh my goodness, there you go. Yeah, call ahead to order your notes. And again, you're playing with house money, so please take that into consideration. How about $69 shipped for a low serial number, super circulated star note? Let's see what year this is. It's a pretty decent sale. Not too bad. Oh yeah, look at this thing. This thing has been around the block a few times, right? I would say it has. Yeah, look at that thing. Not bad. $65 for that old wet rag. But yeah, that's pretty good. So whatever you guys do, have fun with it. If you're not obtaining coins, check out paper money currency. You're still going to get a ton of satisfaction. This was kind of like an overview of fancy serial number collecting and searching. But it sure is a lot of fun. I want to thank you guys for joining in. You're not getting the good old Blue Ridge Silverhound Sean face on the bottom right hand corner of this video. I think it's just more impactful because the banknotes take up the entire screen just to talk about it. But that's going to do it. Hopefully you guys got a few takeaways from it. I'm your host Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But please hit the dislike if you don't like me or the videos. But that's it. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. I wish you guys the best of luck. Enjoy your Sunday football action if you're into that. And I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.